Hey guys, welcome to Pod. We've got something a little bit different for you this week. Whilst it's not the usual CrossFit content you're probably used to hearing from us, I think there's a lot of crossover, and I'm joined by Trystan Bevan and Sahar to talk about their new app, My Finish Line. I'm probably not in the best place to tell you about it, so Trystan, maybe you can kick us off. What is the concept?
The concept is we are both hugely interested, both socially and professionally, when it comes to anything to do with fitness. And Sahar and I met probably about 9 months ago, and we both had separate ideas on how to develop our interests through the medium of tech. And as soon as we met, we instantly realized that we were both on different strands of the same string, and we decided to collaborate and became co-founders of My Finish Line, which is essentially developed into an online community where people can share information on how they train, and we're trying to widen it to a scope that includes everything from gym workouts to comparing how to prepare for marathons and triathlons.
So how did you both meet?
So we've got a mutual friend, Matt Church, who we were introduced to. I was introduced to a family friend, and we met here in Swansea, actually.
That's right.
In a coffee shop just down the road, and yeah, we started talking, and I at that point had a very sort of skeleton-like prototype of My Finish Line, what it is today, and I showed it to him, and he told me about his idea, and I realised that there was definitely synergies to be had, and that we were kind of looking at the same demographic of people, and if we were to combine our ideas together, not only would we benefit from the synergies, but we'd also benefit from the sort of combining the two markets together to build a bigger community.
So talk to me about the combined product. What is it offering people?
So my Finish Line is the original idea is to turn your workouts from, let's say, Strava at the moment, into a training plan for somebody else to follow. So let's say that you've just completed the London Marathon, for example. What you do is you log onto our platform, you say, I started training on, let's say, December 1st, I finished training on April 14th, and what the app will do is then take all of your workouts from Strava and convert them into a training plan that somebody else can then look at and go, okay, this is how a real person trains for the London Marathon. We can then sort of, on the other side of it, when somebody comes to look for a training plan for the London Marathon, they can then search by the experience of the athlete that uploaded the plan, how many sessions per week, whether they want to sort of filter by, what are the other things, but race, for example. So, for example, if you want to find a plan specific for London Marathon, you can then search for London Marathon, and it will show you all the plans that have been uploaded for just that specific race. Or you can search more generally for marathons as well. So it gives you all those options to search by.
But it's not obviously just marathons. There's a triathlon element and an Ironman element.
Absolutely, yeah. Marathon's just the example I use. Yeah. But obviously, Ironmans, 5Ks, 10Ks, sprint triathlons, duathlons, we've kind of got a scope for all of that. And those are the kind of people that we're really, really targeting for this product.
But then there's also the gym side to it as well, isn't there, Trystan?
Yes, and this is kind of where we coexist as far as CrossFit to My Finish Line is. I mean, I've been in professional sport for the last 22 years. And,
yeah, we'll come to that. We'll come to your background, so you worry.
Please don't. There's somewhere in the back of my mind. But it's a part of what sport is all about is the people I've coached or interacted with over the years, they're always so interested in what makes them good. Which is exactly the same as what you get in the CrossFit demographic. You've got sort of people who, like Lauren, for example, you could walk into the gym today and you'd know exactly what you do on most exercises, how many reps, how many sets, what it would take you to push your boundaries. Now, my job as a coach over the last however many years has been to log all that and to sift it, what's good, what's bad, what's not so useful moving forward. But what I've realised over the years is that the information that is peddled to us from so-called gurus, so-called sort of research, so-called analysis, exists on the same continuum as what the experimental user experiences when he or she walks into the gym and writes it down in a book, where it's just because information exists. There's no real quantification of what's good and what's bad out there. It depends on what is suitable for you. So what we've done on the app is created like a workout generator, and what I've tried to place on the workout generator is these are sessions that I have found to be not only popular, but also very entertaining, very sort of full of varied content. But also we've put thresholds on there. These are relatively low intensity. These are medium intensity. These are very high intensity. So you can go on there and challenge yourself against sessions that I've used with professional players in the past, and also things that I've known from my interaction with various sports that other people use. So it's hopefully something that people can click onto and go, oh, that's interesting. I'll see what that's all about.
So at the moment they're created by you. Is there user-generated content as well on that side of things?
Not on that side for now, no. No.
A part of a conversation Sahar and I had instantly realised that we were on the same page was, if you go down user content as far as the workout generator, is a part of what I've done over the years is try to filter what I think is good and bad. And if we went down that road, there's so many competitors out there on the market. That we wanted to be a little bit unique and pigeonhole ourselves more as far as an online community, as opposed to this is what we do if you want to just a general workout in the gym.
And it's all very simplified as well. So if you actually look at the training plans, there's not an awful lot of technical stuff on there. And if there is anything that maybe the average Joe wouldn't understand, it's kind of explained. So we have a little pop-up that says if you want some technique tips, you can just click on that and it will say, for example, if somebody doesn't know what a bench press is, it might, Tristan's then gone on and added some explanations of what that actually is and how you do that. But again, very simplified. It's to not overcomplicate things, and most importantly, it's to not scare people away. And that's what we're all about, is making people feel like, oh, I'm not afraid to go to the weight section in the gym, even though it's all full of these massive men. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to just follow this very simple exercise for me to do for the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to come to that actually. So is the target is at the general public? Despite obviously your background in professional sport, this is about creating a community for your average person.
Yeah.
100%.
As a funnel into that whole other world of whether it's triathlon, running, people who feel like they can join these communities that from an outsider's perspective, even CrossFit, it can look quite daunting, like these people are amazing. You see all the content on social media and like, I could never be like that. Why, how can I just walk into a gym and go to the weight section? And it's like, it's okay. We've all been there. This is what you need to do to just, sort of funnel yourself into these communities.
So what was your personal experience that led you to think that this is even a concept or an idea that people would buy into?
So I'd say probably around 3-ish years ago, I was in my final year of university and spent the first 2 years probably drinking a little bit too much cider.
True story.
Going out a lot, and I had the opportunity to run the London Marathon for a charity that my friend was working for. And I thought, well, why not give it a go? And I caught this massive fitness bug. And since then, it's kind of snowballed. And I've completed 2 Ironmans, 1 half Ironman, countless marathons. And through that whole process, what I realised was, at the start of all that, I looked at these people and thought, wow, these people are like gods. But they're not. They're just exactly like what I was at that time, who've just a little bit further down the line. So it's about... So when I then went on to sign up for my first Ironman, admittedly had a few ciders that night as well. I went on online the next day to find out how I can train for such a thing, and I've always found that the best advice I've always got is from people that have already done that event. So I knew people who'd already done Ironman Wales, for example, and I was going on to their sort of social media and also looking at their Strava accounts and just kind of trying to piece together how they achieved that their goal, and then sort of analysing that myself and seeing how I could apply it and then go on and do the same thing. So I realised if we just had one place where you could almost take a fitness snapshot of your fitness life during the time that you were training for that event, and then share that with people, that would allow them to see, okay, in one place all of this information is there for me to see. This is how they achieved that goal, and therefore I can do it.
And for your CrossFit community, I mean, to extrapolate that to my side, I suppose, is imagine this as a concept, but imagine if I was looking to take up CrossFit. I mean, I'm 44, I'm far too unfit to even contemplate doing that. But what I would do is I would use my network. I mean, Lauren, I'd phone you. I would text John Lugg, who was a friend of mine who medalled in the CrossFit Games a few years ago, or Robin, who's a coach in Cardiff Blues, people who I know who are integrated in that community, and I would ask you for advice. Now, the purpose of My Finish Line is, imagine if you had a community of 20,000 of those people. That's kind of where we're looking to stretch things.
From your background in professional sports, when Sahar came to you with that concept, how did you see the two marrying in terms of as I guess what you would provide to athletes versus what the community can provide to athletes?
I suppose the best way of explaining that is, I learned over the course of my coaching career that you start off in a place where you think you know everything, and then you slowly realise that you don't. The more information then you absorb, you think, okay, this is the direction maybe that I should go to. And then the last stage of it is the integration with the athlete himself or herself, where you think, right, all this background that I've got in knowledge and experience is probably not even working with the demographic of players I'm working with. So therefore, the interaction with them is the most important thing. So therefore, hearing what people experience as they're training and what they want is the most important thing. So, and it probably took me 15 years to get to that point of realising it, where obviously that's a coaching journey, but it's also an educational journey. When I meet Sahar and think, right, what do people actually want? Well, what they want is they want, I suppose, the knowledge that I've got built over years, or people like me, I should say, into a little bite-sized thing that's interesting for them. And I suppose if there was a tagline for My Finish Line, it would be that, which is we're trying to refine as much information as we can to present to the user in a very simple form. And it's from the ground up and from the top down. So as you said, as Sahar said earlier, if you're looking to start things, it's got a roadmap for you to get to the end. Whereas if you're an extremely established CrossFitter, for example, the type of people who be listening and watching this right now, they can click on and go, right, let's try one of these really hard sessions and work back down to see if, to test myself. So we've got a relatively wide bandwidth of people that should be interested or could be interested in this.
Does it cost? I'm asking largely because obviously you can, for example, if you wanted to get from A to B, pay for a coach. So this obviously negates that need to a certain extent.
Yeah, again, so we're providing much more simpler advice. We're not claiming to be, this massive. Obviously, Trystan's worked at that level, so he knows what it takes and what the additional sort of technical advice you could get from that kind of thing is. So what we're trying to do is create a place where you can have almost examples of things to do, rather than like, this is what you have to do, these are the stats you have to match, these are all the technical terms. That kind of stuff takes a lot more research, and that kind of stuff is probably something you would have to pay for because of the research that goes into it. What we're doing is just providing a platform to allow others to share their sort of training journeys, and also provide much more simple training advice. We do have sort of plans for the future in terms of slightly more detailed product that people we may charge for at somewhere down the line, but at this stage we just want to encourage as many people to come to our platform as possible, and we're not really looking to sort of charge them for any of that. No,
I mean we've got ideas as far as what we could offer from a premium point of view, but from a demographic, that the way we're looking at the moment is that's probably going to be towards the real high end, as far as the real tough sessions, or the ones that have got some kind of challenges associated. I mean, the workout of the day is that 1,000 CrossFit gyms all around the world would put on every single day comes from somewhere, and whoever writes that up has got an experiential way of deciding, right, this is what I've decided to do. And that's kind of what we're looking to do in the premium part, which is, right, what are the things that are really going to test people? But we're not quite there yet as far as the users. And
our primary goal here is really to create that inclusive environment for people, and if potentially putting a cost on that is going to put people off, and that's what we're not trying to do. That we're trying to encourage people to come and join
and get fit,
which is all the benefits associated with that. You don't even need to sort of touch on that.
Exactly.